had business coach, like I've had coaches to learn more, because I think regardless of how good you are, like you always need a coach. I think, if you look at LeBron James, if you look at some of the best athletes and, artists in the world, they all have coaches. So for me, if I do decide to do one, which it just depends on where I'm at in my life, and I do decide to do one, then obviously I will for sure have a coach, because I'm not, fully qualified in that field to get somebody to deplete water, those type of things. That's not, my expertise.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hustle Up podcast. Today we're sitting down with Michael, Chiara. My name's Clint.
I'm Jonathan.
Matt
Gammon.
Guys, we are repping the longevity game today. That is Michael's book, co-written with Connor Judson Garrett.
Shout out Connor.
The man, shout out Connor, who is it Lebanon right now?
He's in Lebanon.
Yeah, very cool. He's seeing the world. So Michael, how are we doing today?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm well.
Big shout out to Michael, who is the personal trainer of 2/3 of the podcast hosts right now. Man, first off, thank you, because my body has seen significant improvements, and not only that, but my mind has seen significant improvements. And I think one thing that is very interesting is, and then we'll go into your background, but I just want to right off the bat say thank you to you because you've helped me really explore the mind-body connection. And I feel that since I've started making healthier decisions, and I know you feel the same way, and you're already an athlete, you played college football, so you know that when you get in a way of life where you're making healthy decisions, it's like a whole fuzz is relieved from you, like a daziness that's gone. So thank you,
Bro, of course, 100%.
Yeah, and thanks for coming out. We're super excited to have you here.
I'm ready for it, man.
So he's training you right now?
Yeah, he's me and Clint's personal trainer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting after it.
Can't you tell? With the button shirt on. But yeah, so how'd you get into who are you?
Yeah, so like they said, my name is Michael Chiara, 24 years old, fitness trainer here in Atlanta. I work with online and in-person clients. Growing up, I was playing baseball, and that was the goal, to go play professional. Unfortunately, that didn't happen due to a back injury and some other things. Fortunately enough, got straight into training from there, really learned about my body through my own transformation, and I thought it was really cool to see my body transform. And if I could transform my body, how cool would it be to do it for others? And I've always been about helping people. I've always been about developing and upbringing people as well, and been in it for about 4.5, 5 years. And it's it's one of those things where you can't really put a price tag on it. Every day I wake up and I'm super excited to help people get after it and make an impact. So for the last 4.5 years, it's been a blessing being able to wake up at 4:15 in the morning. I know
Let's go.
We always talk about that, and getting up early and starting your day early, because most people wake up at 7 o'clock and you're 3 hours ahead of the curve, and it just gets you more productive of a day, and it just gives you more hours of the day.
So you're waking up at 4:15. What does your morning routine look like, and what things are you doing, both to train your body, but also to train your mind?
Yeah, so when I first started training, I was all about the look. I wanted the six-pack, the muscles, and all of that. And after I got that, I wanted more. And I have this David Goggins mentality. I want to be able to accomplish things.
They don't know me, son.
I want to be able to accomplish things that 98% of America can't. And so for what I do, I wake up at 4:15, 4:30, pretty much every single morning. The first thing that I do is I get into the cold shower. Yeah. And that is one of the hardest things that I do, because it's one of those habits where you don't acquire it. You just go and you do it. And it's one of those things you wake up and you're like, I don't really want to do this. But one of the biggest goals for me is when I wake up, I do not want to enter my comfort zone. And what that means is most people, they eat a bullshit breakfast. They have bullshit thoughts.
What's a bullshit breakfast?
A bullshit breakfast is they're not knowing what they're eating. They're doing it they're just subconsciously eating because they know they need to eat.
Give me an example of a bullshit breakfast compared to a progressive
cereal or...
Yeah, so a bullshit breakfast could be cereal, coffee, and maybe like, a pastry, maybe like a piece of cake or, just something to
A
just,
chocolate croissant.
yeah, exactly. Something to just get your body going,
Yeah.
and
High in sugar.
correct. And
Yeah.
most people don't understand what it means to have a relationship with food. I'm eating this food right now because it's actually doing something for my body. It's going to get me started with positive momentum for the day.
So what do you eat?
So for me, so a lot of people don't know this, but I eat around 4,000 calories a day.
Wow.
My morning is, 7 to 8 egg whites, 2 cups of oatmeal, a protein shake, fruit, and a Greek yogurt.
In one sitting, like 15, 20 minutes?
Yep. So what I'll do is I'll train 2 to 3 people first, and then around 7:30, 8 o'clock, that's when I'll have my breakfast.
So by 8 o'clock, you've already trained 3 people?
By 8 o'clock, I've already trained 3 people, 2 to 3 people, taken a freezing 5-minute shower, 2 sets of planks, and then I do this exercise called priming. Tony Robbins does it. It's a breathing exercises. It puts you in a state of gratitude. And he always talks about you can't be in fear or anger when you're in a state of gratitude. So
Wow.
Say that again?
You can't be in fear or anger when you're in a state of gratitude.
Absolutely.
So I do that every single morning. By 8 o'clock, I've accomplished more in those hours than most people do all day.
So what does the cold shower do? What benefits do you see from that?
So when I first started, I saw my body get leaner. So that was like the number one thing. But I would say, so scientifically what it does, it recruits glucose through shivering to your body, which actually gives you energy. And then the second thing, like I said, it's something that's uncomfortable. So for me, I don't want to enter my comfort zone before I even leave my house, right? And what that does is just puts you in puts you in comfortable habits. So you've probably heard of the book, The Best Way to Start Your Day is Making Your Bed, because that's one successful task. And then from there, you can have more successful tasks. So that's one habit that I just know. I wake up and I'm like, that's the first thing that I got to do. And I'm like, this is not fun and this is not comfortable, but I know it's necessary.
And I was watching Joe Rogan once talk with someone about it, and like to what you were saying, it's something that never gets easier. So you have to be ultra disciplined to making it happen. And what they said is when you can stay disciplined to continuously doing something that you don't like per se, but you can continuously do it, then the duality to that, the other side of that coin is when unexpected bad things happen throughout your day, you're more chill about it. So if you stay disciplined at taking these cold showers, when you're driving and that person cuts you off, instead of the middle finger getting mad, you're like, all right.
Is that like a Marine mentality?
Yeah, so the guy who wrote Make Your Bed was a Marine, a Navy SEAL.
I've seen that speech. That's
I think the difference is having your prepared and having your unprepared. So for me, I know when I wake up in the morning, I have my day set out. So I know what I'm prepared for. Obviously, there's things that you can't prepare for. Like, let's just say if you spill your coffee, you get a flat tire, you can't prepare for those things. But I think one of the biggest challenges for people is they have so many unprepared things for the day. They just don't know. Well, they don't know what they're getting into the next day.
Right.
Jim Rohn has that quote, if you don't have your goals written down for the day, just go back to bed.
Well, it's kind of like
powerful.
what Dr. Carolina said about getting out of survival mode, that living day to day. She says thrival, getting into thrival, but getting into a state where you're thriving by writing down what's coming up the next day, planning for the future.
Quick question on foods. Charlie Rocket was here and we had him on the podcast, and he spoke about low frequency and high frequency foods. What took me by surprise was when he was talking about power bars, energy bars, protein shakes. He actually considered that low frequency because it's not living. So, with me, I'll tell you I'm drinking protein or I'm taking pre-workout, and you're, with the pre-workout, you're like moderate it, but with protein, you're good with it. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Why would Charlie see it as a low frequency, but you see it as something, and you even take protein yourself?
Yeah. So the protein that I take is called Redcon MRE. It's all natural food. There's no artificial flavors. There's no sugar in it.
Is that plant-based?
No. So if you look at the ingredients, it's brown rice, yams, fish, different sorts of proteins, chicken, all that kind of stuff. It's all natural foods. And it's one of the first proteins that I've taken that I didn't bloat, I didn't feel like crap, and I can drink it and actually go throughout my day. Because I think a lot of people, they'll finish the gym, they'll take their protein shake, 20 minutes later they'll be bloated, they'll feel low energy, and they're thinking, I thought working out is actually something that's going to give me energy, and now I feel low energy because of what you put into your body after.
Is it whey or is that separate?
It's not whey.
So how many different kinds of protein are there?
There's pea protein, there's soy protein, there's whey protein, there's plant protein.
Casein.
Yep, casein. Casein, slow digestion, so a lot of people will take that before bed. There's a couple of different ones.
Do you know like what each one would be for?
Really depending on your goal.
Okay.
So for me, I'm not the biggest person on supplements. Now, obviously, there are a couple of different things that I would recommend. Like for example, what I talk about in my book, I talk about creatine, something that you could, put into your diet every single day. 5 grams additional to what you're getting. A lot of people eat meat already, so you're getting, creatine from that. But for me, the only supplement that I take is that MRE, and then obviously a multivitamin fish oil.
Is MRE meals ready to eat?
Meal replacement, yeah, pretty
meals
much.
replacement. You mentioned soy protein. A lot of people, you've heard the term soy boy. A lot of people don't fuck with soy at all. Like, they're absolutely anti-soy.
Does it give you titties?
Yeah, what's up with soy?
A couple different things. I would say number one, a lot of people don't look inside of their health. They look outside of their health. They're not looking at what internally is happening. So a lot of what soy can do is it actually can damage organs. It can mess with your liver. It can mess with different things like that, which will take you away from feeling better, which will take you away from actually increasing energy. A lot of things, even if we go on to like caffeine, same thing with soy, what happens is a lot of times we take these extra things and our adrenal glands get burnt out. Adrenal glands is actually what produces natural energy. And when we take too many of these things, our adrenal glands get destroyed to where now we can't actually produce natural energy because our adrenal glands are not actually producing.
How does soy impact the liver? I know you're not a nutritionist, but are we do you know?
That is definitely a question for a higher up nutritionist for sure.
No, for sure. Now I know there's a lot of discussion around soy.
Yeah, I've heard it both ways. I've heard soy isn't bad. Have you seen Game Changers yet?
I have, and there are definitely some things I would definitely comment on it. I think it's a great documentary. Mm-hmm. I think there's definitely some things I disagree with it on, though.
Like what?
Let's talk about that.
So here's the thing. I think when it comes to veganism, I think it's a healthy approach for sure. I believe there are people who can get really big and really fit through being vegan. The one thing that I've been seeing a lot of is a lot of these bodybuilders, they're starting to become vegan because of this documentary. Like, it's very, very, very persuading. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but it's persuading.
It's really good.
If you're not into fitness and you don't really understand what's going on, it'll persuade you. The one thing that I didn't like about it is how a lot of these bodybuilders who weren't bodybuilders before or weren't vegans before, they're big, they're jacked, they've got these great physiques, and they're talking about how it's the healthier way. But a lot of these bodybuilders are on different things. They're on steroids, they're on gear, they're on pro hormone, SARMs, different things that are damaging the body. And again, that's why I could go back to my book. I like to look at it as I want to feel 30 when I'm 60. Those are the type of things that I think about. Now, again, with looking good, like that can come. It's just going to take a little bit longer.
But what about like all the Olympic people, like that girl that was riding the bike that's in the Olympics? Obviously, she gets tested, and she's the fastest woman on a bike and one of the oldest, and she's vegan. What about stuff like that?
Again, everyone's body's different.
Right.
So, for example, Usain Bolt, I think he had like some crazy hip injury, and he's still the fastest guy in the world. Right. Some people's bodies are just simply made for it. Like I know these guys know. I did a 40-mile hike the other about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and just based on how my genetics are, and I'm a ectomorph built, which is basically somebody who can burn calories very, very quickly. One thing that I struggle with is I have a very, very tough time putting muscle on based on my genetics, and a lot of people don't think genetics come into play.
Right.
They do. A lot of people who they don't really work out. They may work out 2 to 3 times a week, and they're jacked. There are people who work out 5 to 6 times a week. They've got their diet on point. They got their sleep on point, and they can't seem to figure it out. So for me, like, even on that hike, a lot of my joints and my bones were decaying because of that. But that was a test for sure.
And I really feel like it's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
Correct.
I think everybody's different, right? We all have different genes. We all have different genetics. We all have different blood types. What do you think about blood type and exercise? Do you think that plays a big deal in diet and exercise?
That's actually what I do with my clients. So one thing that's really cool about the blood type diet, and again, I don't like the word diet because that's just basically saying this is what you're going to eat for the rest of your life.
More like an approach.
The blood type lifestyle.
Correct. Yeah, there you go. always coming up with new creative words, right? So one cool thing about it is you're not taking out a macronutrient. Any fad diet or any diet that you're trying to stick to for a long period of time obviously isn't going to work. We want things that are going to obviously sustain and create longevity. So one thing, like I said, that you don't have to take out a macronutrient. It's not like you're taking out all your carbs. You're not taking out all your fats. It's just picking specific foods that work well with your body type. Because say Jonathan and I are working out, we're doing the same meal plan, we're doing the same workout plan, we have the same exact body type, somebody's results are going to be better in the next 90 days.
Right. So one thing I found really interesting on Game Changers, since we're talking about blood, is when they would eat the chicken. Did you see this part?
Yeah,
where
yeah.
They would eat the vegan diet and the blood was just clear as crystal, and then they would eat the chicken and it was cloudy and looked
right.
So what do you think about that?
No, well, and that's why I say that there's 100% a healthier approach when it comes to that. I don't think it's like the title Game Changers. I don't think it's an actual game changer. I think it's definitely a healthier approach. And I did see it was like yellow one, and I saw that as well, and that had me thinking.
Yeah, so that's what really changed my perspective. When I saw that, I was like, wow, look what it does to the blood.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think another thing is so meat actually it obviously creates inflammation. So I was actually talking to our mentor about this, and he said, think about it like this. This definitely had some of my meat eater friends very skeptical, but it made sense to me. If you think about it, animals live in fear, because if you're out hunting a deer or a bear, or just some sort of animal, for the most part, they're scared of you. And what happens is they live in fear. So when you kill that animal and you eat it, it's everything's energy. We always talk about that. And technically it's almost like you're putting that energy into your body.
Right.
So I've tried being a vegan for a week, and I lost 6 pounds, and I didn't do it correctly. But now after the last 2 years, I've got super educated on like how everything works, and I'm definitely going to give it a try here soon, but just really depends on how my body feels.
Let me say something real quick, because I've heard someone say that before, and to me, I'm like, well, can't you just, if you can change water by talking to it, right? We're all familiar with that science experiment. Can't the same apply to food? Don't you think that's why every religion has prayers before you eat, is to change the energy of the food before you consume it? So even if animal A that I'm about to eat lived in fear its whole life, if I'm thankful for it and bless it per se before I eat it,
you
will
talked
that change
about priming gratitude earlier, right? Like it's impossible to be in a state of fear when you're grateful. So if you were grateful for your food and you took a moment to bless the food or talk to the food, could you change the state of the energy?
And again, that's the debate, right? So that's what, like, I still eat meat. If I truly believed that, like, why would I put fear into my body, right? Purposely. So I don't. It was just really cool when I heard that, because it was a different perspective.
Yeah.
I got a couple questions for you here. One, you mentioned inflammation earlier. Do you take anything for inflammation? Do you specifically? I want to know about CBD.
Yeah.
What does CBD do for you?
So a couple of different things. So my biggest thing is taking external things to create some sort of peace I'm not fully agreeing with, but when it comes to CBD, there are some really great benefits. I've taken it in a couple of different ways, the oil and the cream. Obviously, through working out, your body gets sore. There are different times where you just feel like an injury's coming on. I've used the cream on my knee. Feels amazing. Completely takes the pain out. I used the oil. There were times where maybe I was going through some sort of mood swings, and I would take the oil, changes my mood drastically. But I don't.
You would say CBD is a mood-altering substance?
I would say it would help for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I own a CBD company called Live Light CBD.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty vast in this area. And CBD, I've seen it affect many different people's life. Like, for instance, my stepmom, she takes CBD and it's changed her life. She's a lot better. She feels healthier. She's able to walk. She had arthritis before. Now it doesn't hurt her as bad. And I've just seen the great benefits that CBD do, not only in their life, but in my own as well. Like, my knees crack. I've been rubbing CBD on my knee and it started to go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's something in the cannabinoids that really affect your skin and your muscle tissue, and even internally. In that fact.
Yeah, no, it's because I remember when I first heard it and discovered it. I remember I was in GNC and I saw it. It was like this little tube that cost like $21. I was like, a lot of people look at that and they're like, that's too expensive. But if you look at it, something like that, It's like, if this is $21, it's this small, it's got to work, you know, and people are buying it. It works. So yeah, so like I said, I've used it. It's worked in both ways. Like I said, the oil was cool, but I don't like taking external things to heal. I believe we're powerful enough to heal our own things.
Right.
What about food? I mean, is food not an external thing?
Say that again.
Like food. Food is medicine. I mean, is
correct. I mean, obviously, if you think about it, it's like, think about when you're hungry. What do?
you eat.
You eat, right? So same thing. But it's more so of like, there are specific things. You need water. You need food.
Right.
Like, you need those things.
You don't necessarily need CBD.
Correct. Exactly.
Well, it goes back to also intermittent fasting. What do you think about intermittent fasting?
Or
'Cause I've
fasting,
tried that for a while, and I've heard great things about that and the cell replenishment after you fast.
100%. A lot of people do like detoxes and like 7-day cleanses. I agree with it 100%, and even intermittent fasting, because what happens is, let's just say somebody who's never worked out before, they're on they haven't been able to eat clean their entire life. I would never start somebody like that on intermittent fasting, because my biggest goal for them is build some sort of foundation for them within at least 90 days. And then from there, we could start adding strategies to their nutrition, whether it's intermittent fasting, whether it's, hey, instead of eating this amount of meals, do this amount of meals, because it's more so about the calories rather than I'm going to eat 6 meals today because that's what this guy told me. So intermittent fasting, 100%. I like the 8-16 rule. A lot of people do 12 and 12. I think 8-16 is
Or up, right?
correct. Yeah. So basically what that means is you're eating 8 hours of the day and you're fasting 16 hours of the day. I would say I wouldn't do that forever, but I would do that in specific times for sure.
Are you familiar with fasting as a way to cure mental, physical, and emotional diseases or inflammation?
100%. And I think we actually talked about this. So there was a guy, he actually had cancer. And this is a crazy story.
Stefan Arnio?
Yep, there he is. Shout out. So this guy had cancer, and the doctors were like, "Hey, we're gonna give you chemotherapy." He said, "No, I'm not gonna take that. That's poison for my body. I'm gonna go out in the woods for 40 days and
It
fast."
fails like what, 93% of the time it fails, or it doesn't work?
98.
98% of the
Wait
time.
to hear this. Wait to hear this.
You
So
said, wait, chemo doesn't work?
It fails about
98%?
98% of the time.
yep. So this guy goes and fasts for 40 days with no food, and it's crazy because, you know, these doctors, they have to go to school for an extremely long time and basically get 95 to 100% on all their tests to become a doctor, when they're selling something that has a 2% success rate.
Yeah.
You know, so
I gotta fact check that.
Yeah, check it.
Yeah.
But no, it's while he does that, I mean, you hear about that all the time, and that's why, again, you know, religions are a good context to look at as far as what's worked over the last thousands of years, because, you know, they all have similarities, and fasting is, again, something that's in a majority of them, and it's for that purpose because it gives your body a chance. It's like, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were using the example of like resetting a computer. Like when you want to just shut everything off, you just shut it all off, reset it, and it turns back on.
Correct.
You know, if it was moving slow, it's not moving slow anymore.
And I think a lot of it's up here, guys. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we heal ourselves, like you were talking about before, right? Have you seen that documentary, Heal?
I haven't.
It's an incredible documentary.
And what's Game Changers on, just so anyone listening?
It's all on Netflix.
Okay.
So
It's called
Yeah.
Heal.
But Heal
Heal.
is incredible. It's one of the better documentaries I've seen. It talks about frequency and, you know, honing into your frequency to cure cancer, and honing into, you know, meditation and stuff like that, and just healing yourself from inside out and really believing that you're pushing this cancerous stuff out of your body.
Right.
And it's all about energy, though.
Yeah.
You know Royal Rife, the Rife machine? Have you ever
I've heard
about
of it, yeah.
this? And that's all frequency as well, running frequency through your body to get rid of cancer and stuff, because we're all frequency, right? We're all particles,
Right.
And we're all mostly water based, you know, so it's all about the frequency and what you believe up here. If you think you're sick, you're going to continue to be sick.
Right.
But if you change your mindset and you go like in the woods and you really feel like you're getting better, then your body will naturally start healing itself, and it's tapping into that subconscious and healing yourself. That's really, I feel like, the greatest benefit that we could do for each other. Even in the morning when the Buddhist monks meditate, or when they meditate over water and they change the crystallization, it's all up here.
Correct.
Absolutely. Did you get a fact check on that?
So it's not 98 and 2%. That looks like Where is this? What's this? WebMD is saying.
I don't know if we could.
We don't like WebMD?
Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah?
No.
Never mind.
Hold on.
But what did
Numbers I'm
WebMD
reading
say
are 44%,
for all of our listeners?
44% success rate.
I've heard that percentage from other doctors before, though.
So point is, I believe that.
I think that comes back in remission is why you're saying 98%.
Correct. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's like going against what a lot of society has taught us to do. There's just so many things out there that society has told us to do. I mean, if you think about it, if you have cancer, what's the number one thing you got to go do? You got to go get chemotherapy.
Right.
Right. It's even as simple as when you graduate college, what do you have to go do? You have to go get a job. It's like, you don't have to go do that. That's just what society tells you.
You don't have to go to college.
And to your point, something that I had thought of in my head was, you know how they hooked up that Olympic runner to the EEG brain scanner? Is it EEG? I think the middle letters E for
EKG?
Not for brain. EKG is for the heart. I think EEG is for the brain. But he thought like they did this with all the Olympians or all the runners in the race and had them think about running the race, and the actual results of those who thought about how fast they run were pretty similar to how they actually turned out in physical reality, which was interesting and showing that visualizing and using your mind to conduct that energy is a very real and transferable thing.
And pro baseball players visualize home runs every time.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, and just like Nikola Tesla, I mean, he used to subconsciously pull things out of the air. You know what I mean? It's all about a state of mind and what you're in, and you know, and how you freaking reflect on yourself and what you really believe inside.
Exactly.
Because if you still have that hint of doubt, it's not gonna work.
Never. It literally never does.
Out of curiosity, a little bit of a change. You mentioned game changers. A lot of these guys are on gear. A lot of these guys might be shooting up steroids. Are there any good steroids? Is HGH healthy? Are we moving toward a new era?
I mean, here's my opinion. And it goes back to what I've said, you know, for the last, 15, 20 minutes. Just to see your body, because again, think about it. It's like there are steroids for different things. Like if you're sick in a specific way, like the doctor will prescribe you
cortisone.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you have like an injury, like a cortisone shot. Yeah. So again, for me personally, like I would never tell a client to do it. So if I would never tell a client to do it, I would never tell anybody else to do it as well. My best interest is obviously creating something for somebody long term.
So with that being said, what do you think about testosterone replacement? Because a lot of us now, I mean, if you see the news and you start looking at our generation, a lot of men have low T.
Yeah.
You know, and so I know there's natural ways to fix it, but a lot of people go on,
testosterone boosters,
replacement systems.
Correct. Yeah. No,
what do you think about that?
I think it's great because I think you naturally will lose testosterone now, and I know you guys know that I'm a big advocate of sleep. A lot of people do not get the right amount of sleep, and they lose a lot of testosterone through that. So basically and really quick, I'll just break it down for you. You go through this process called melatonin secretion, and when you do that through deep sleep, your body releases human growth hormones, which produces more muscle, more weight loss, fat loss, stronger immune system, and healthier skin. Right. So I believe in it. I believe you can take a test booster. I personally have done it before. I saw a little bit of strength gain, a little bit more energy, but again, it was just to test it out to see if it actually is legit. So, and then that's another thing. So for me, like somebody could say, hey, do you think steroids are legit? It's like, well, I personally have never taken them. So I just have done enough research and I've known what it's done to people long term to where numbers don't lie. Right.
So let's get back to that. I know you wake up at 4:10 every day.
4:15, 4:30.
So when do you go to bed at night?
Depends. 9:30, 10 o'clock. But for the most part, I always get 8 hours of sleep every single day, no matter what. If I don't, I'll catch up on the weekends. It's after. So if you think about it, there's 7 days a week. Times that by 8, it's 56 hours. I track to make sure I get 56 hours of sleep every single week. So there are times I may only get 5.5 hours of sleep. I know I'll have to make that up somewhere else, whether it's on the weekend, whether it's maybe I'll be able to go to sleep a little bit earlier that next night. It just really depends. So I make sure I get that.
What do you think about like siestas and stuff like that? Like back in the day, that was the claim that's how you're able to take a little siesta in the daytime. Or are you for that? Are you against that?
How do you feel
about that?
I'm not, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Not for naps?
Well, it's the same thing like melatonin, right? So it's like melatonin's a sleep hormone. You can take that. I mean, it will put you to sleep, and again, it will put you through that phase to be able to produce human growth hormones. But I wouldn't say to do it. You can, but I don't think there's any like bad
There are
benefits
studies out though that say that if you take a nap in the day, you'll be more productive. Like Google has little nap stations and stuff like that.
It's just I haven't. It's just tough because you have to hit a precise nap. Like it has to be 1 hour, can't be over, because if you
right.
wake up in the middle of an REM, you're gonna be tired.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I'll take I will take a nap here and there. Depends on, obviously, like I said, my sleep, and
Chiara's too busy for naps. Get the fuck out of here,
bro. No way.
But you also, I've heard that you can't make up sleep. So if you I got 2 hours short on Thursday. Yeah, but you can, like, hitting an REM. Like if you sleep for 5 hours and you take a 2 hour nap and get 2 full REMs in that day, that's the closest you can come to making up sleep.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's not the same, because you have your deep sleep, your light sleep, and your active rest. And most of the time people don't hit enough deep sleep, which doesn't allow that process to go through. So let's just say I only get 5 hours and I didn't hit full deep sleep, and then I take an hour and a half, 2 hour nap. That's not the same thing as getting 7.5 hours of sleep.
So are you anti-body hacking? Are you anti supplementation? And
again, it depends on the person's goal. If the person's out there trying to be a bodybuilder, I mean, yes, you're gonna have to take some stuff.
Do you train bodybuilders?
I don't train any bodybuilders.
Yeah.
No. A lot of people are asking me, like, do you want to? It's like, not really. Like, that's why, again, it goes back to longevity. It goes back to, I want people when they're 60 to feel like they're 30.
Have you thought about natural bodybuilding?
I've thought about it, and it possibly could come, just to see what my body's made of naturally. And I've obviously have trained my body enough to actually prepare myself to see how lean I could get, and I can get it pretty lean. But there's obviously more education, right? Like, I've had my own personal trainer before. I've had business coach, I've had coaches to learn more, because I think regardless of how good you are, like, you always need a coach. I think, if you look at LeBron James, if you look at some of the best athletes and, artists in the world, they all have coaches, So for me, if I do decide to do one, which it just depends on where I'm at in my life, and I do decide to do one, then obviously I will for sure have a coach, because I'm not, fully qualified in that field to get somebody to deplete water, those type of things. That's not, my expertise.
So, yeah, the idea that even Olympic coaches have athletes. How do you, on the business side of things, how do you market yourself, and how do you find clients? How do clients find you?
So I would say the number one is referrals. And I think that's any business. People don't care about how much you know until they know that you care. So if somebody is doing a very, very good job, and they love your service and they get results, they're probably going to refer you. There's actually an acronym that I use, and I'm very big on acronyms. People buy into people who they like, trust, and respect.
It's a long acronym.
Well, here's what it is. Trust. All right. Transparency. People want to make sure that they're working with people who are genuine and who are real.
For sure.
The R stands for results. So let's just say, Clint, with your company, people want to know that you have results. For me, like, people who want to hire me as a trainer, they want to make sure that, does this guy have results? Has this guy helped other people? The U stands for understanding. So they understand what this person is doing. What is Clint doing with his tents? What is Clint doing with his roofs? And then the S is service, understand what kind of service they provide. And then the T stands for transformation. And I love breaking that down obviously for me with training, because it makes a lot of sense. Like, what kind of transformation is that person going to see based on working with me? What kind of transformation is that person's roof going to look like after they're done? So,
right.
I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, I feel like, number one, referrals. Number two, I am marketing like crazy on Instagram. All right. And as you know, everyone's on their phone. If you look on the road, 3 out of 5 people, they're not looking at billboards. They're on their phones. They're not even paying attention to the road. Yeah. So Instagram's huge. And then third, networking events. I mean, like I said, if you can go into a room and have somebody like you in the first 90 seconds, it's not about selling them right there. it's letting them know, like, this is who I am, this is what I do, and it's great to meet you. You know, because if you think about it, most people out here, they struggle with their health. They can't get to the gym. They can't, you know, meal plan. They can't get enough sleep. They need help with that. And a lot of people that I'm able to connect with, they're like overachievers. They want more in life, you know, so people are going to want training. People are going to want to learn more about their health and look better and feel more comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that you could ever get is someone being like, man, it worked for me. You know what I mean? And if they're friends with this person, then they already have that trust with this person.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Know?
I mean, that's what happened with Clint.
I think referrals are the best thing that you could ever do, especially as a personal trainer.
Still, even in the digital age, is the number one way of marketing. What trust is: transparency, results, understanding, service, transformation. I like that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what compelled you to write the longevity game, and what's the thesis of it? Meaning, obviously, it's longevity, but how do you attain that, and what compelled you to write it?
So, in the beginning of actually, going back to 2014, I had a friend who wrote a book, and it was just really cool. I thought that one day I want to write a book, but in 2018, I was at a very, very tough time in my life. I just bought a program that basically swiped out my entire bank account.
You said what year is this?
So beginning of 2018.
Let's talk about this story because I'm familiar with this story.
Yeah.
What program was it?
So in late 2017, I got to a point where I just didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to train. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to make an impact, but I just couldn't figure it out. I mean, there were just so many struggles and trials and tribulations that were just coming up to the point where it was more of a sink or swim. Like, I've got to make a decision, and if I really want to do this, I've got to go all in. So I saw an ad on Instagram, and it said, turn your business into 6 figures. And I said, this sounds awesome. I need this in my life. And I watched this video, and I ended up getting on a call with a guy, which is crazy because Charlie Rocket, his speaking coach, was the guy I got on the call with, which is just wild. Yeah. We had a 2.5-hour conversation. I had just a little bit more than the initial investment was. It was $5,000. And like I said, this was a time in my life I was very, very stuck, frustrated, broke, busted, and disgusted. And I said, I've got more balls and brains. I'm going all in. I spent that $5,000, and it was the scariest investment I ever made, but it was by far one of the most worth it investments I've ever done. A lot of people don't look at investing in yourself as you're paying for your success. You know, when I invest in myself, I don't look at it as, damn, I got to pay this guy every single month, or damn, I got to pay this guy now. It's, I'm paying for my success, because the more you pay for something, the more you pay attention. When you vote with your money, you vote with your time. So after that investment, I went all in. I started doing every single thing that the program said. I was out meeting people. I was marketing. I was just doing whatever it took. And from there, I was able to build transformations. After a couple, people started, again, trusting me. They saw the transformations in other people. And then from there, kind of took off. So one thing I said in 2018, I said, once I'm able to go full-time in my business, because at this point, I still had a part-time job. So I would wake up at 4:15, train 2 to 3 people, go to my part-time job, train 2 to 3 more people, and then go to network. You know, so I really didn't have, it was 85, 90 hours a week of work. And I really wasn't getting paid that much because I still didn't own my value as a trainer. I was still charging very, very low prices, and people weren't respecting my time, you know, because if people aren't spending money that's actually challenging them, they're not going to commit, you know? Right. So after a couple of months, started seeing some great results. And then in, I think November, almost this time last year, I was like, this is going to happen. So middle of December, I said, I'm going to start writing a book. I hit up Connor and I said, hey bro, we're going to do this. And he's like, I'm here to help. I believe we can make this happen. So that was the goal. And then fortunately enough, I was able to move into a 1-bedroom apartment in Buckhead, which that was another big step for me because, the situation at my mom's house was not great. You know, it just wasn't an environment that I could actually grow and level up in. So the book took about 5.5 to 6 months, and it's been a blessing because not only has it impacted and inspired people, but it's given me my own source of credibility, you know, and what I mean by that is when I'm able to sit down with somebody, it's not about, look, I have a book, this is great. This book means everything to me because it's exactly what I am.
Let's go. Can we get a blue button for that one?
I'm on a winning streak.
You already know,
Yeah.
Charlie
Yeah.
Rocket.
So
So
you get to hand it out to your clients.
yeah,
There's
no,
so many, yeah.
and it means a lot to me because a lot of people don't know this, and I think you may know this, but during the time writing this book, I was going through one of the biggest struggles in my personal life with a female. It was tough. I mean, it was borderline hell. And I said, you know what, I got to show up for myself, you know, because a lot of people, they go ghost mode on themselves. I got to show up for myself because people rely on me every single day, no matter what,
Right.
you know? So
here's a question. How much is too much? You know, I know a lot of people that train. I feel like a lot of people overdo it. So what's your outtake on that?
oh yeah, I mean, I train, it depends on what day, but for average 5 to 6 sessions a day. And fortunately enough, through that program, I was able to show people how to work out through an app. And that was really cool because I understand that you only get 24 hours in a day. No one gets 25, no one gets 26. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. So for me, how can I maximize my time without burning myself out? Because you guys probably know a lot of personal trainers who train 10 to 12 clients a day, maybe even at a gym, and they're barely getting by in life. And that was definitely a self-limiting belief back in 2017. I said to myself, how am I going to be able to make this work full time if I can't even pay my rent? I can't even pay, you know, my car insurance, because a lot of trainers struggle, and society, that's how society looks at trainers. Like, they don't make enough money. You know, that you just can't live off the income that a trainer makes. Right. But when you're able to scale a business that reaches people in different cities, states, and countries, I mean, that's extremely powerful. So I've been able to leverage that and scale that a lot bigger because I'm able to work with people that are not with me. For example, like Jonathan Clinton, like, they don't work out with me. I mean, there are times we'll work out in person.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised I didn't burn you out myself.
No, but well, here's the thing, and like, shout out to these guys because they're actually inside of the book. But funny story, just really quick. The reason why Hessen and I are really close, and then Clinton and I got really close as well. There was one night we went to we were at like a birthday celebration, and I was having a really, really bad night. And this was when Jonathan, it was maybe like a year and a half after he started his company. He goes, "Hey bro, I feel like you're having a really bad night. I want to give you something." And he gave me this bracelet. No joke. He gave me this bracelet. And he goes, "Bro, you're a special person in this world, and people need you." And it's one white ball, and then the rest are blue. So shout out to you,
my
bro.
guy.
Always respect.
Always fit in, but always be yourself.
Exactly.
But my question to you though is how much is too much training wise? Because I see a lot of people overtraining and not resting enough.
So
there's no such thing as overtraining. All right, professional athletes, UFC fighters, they train like people.
They don't know me, son.
Yeah, no, they don't know me, son. I don't see people training hard enough. Most people are going to the gym and they're hopping on a machine and they're doing this little thing like, "Oh, I worked out today." And unless you're over in the corner screaming, "They don't know me, son," going until you think you're injured, your body will rest. You will, if you get your sleep and you eat your food, get your protein, your body's going to find a way to heal. Progressive overload means work out until you think you are hurt. I mean, do it. Keep your form right. But
correct. So here's the thing. So your body, your muscles recover every 48 to 72 hours. Now, most people think it takes a week to recover. So let's just say you hit chest on Monday, because International Chest Day, that's what everyone thinks, right? But again, it doesn't have to be. A lot of people won't hit chest again till Monday again.
You could go on Thursday, right?
Correct. It's so a lot of the times when people plateau is because they just don't hit that muscle enough.
Too many people are bitch made, dog.
Correct.
Like
they're soy boys.
They're soy boys.
The wussification of America.
It's even got a
society title right now.
Yeah. So, I got a whole bunch of excuses.
Yeah. So instead you can it's sometimes you hit a plateau because you're only hitting chest one day a week. Instead of hitting chest one day a week and doing 7 exercises on that day, hit it a little bit more frequent. So
then why do you give me 2 days off?
People do the same exercises every time. That's the problem. That's why people plateau, is because they're doing the same exercises every time they enter the gym. They're not switching it up. They're not diversifying their workouts.
Correct.
They're doing the same thing.
So let me ask, because you prescribed to me, like, you know, shoulder day, chest day, like ISO group day.
Correct.
Why do you still give me 2 days off?
So first off, I want to make sure you can hit 5.
Come on.
That's the number one thing. That's the number one thing. So it's funny. So I'm really passionate about the app that I use, and a lot of people make fun of me because they're like, "Dude, like, you're over the top with this thing." But I can see when people check in.
What app is that?
It's called Trainerize. It's awesome. So a lot of the times when people can't check in 5 days a week, why would I give them 6 days a week? You know, I believe Hessen can get there. Like Clint, do we have a button for that? Do we have a button for that one?
Internet.
We in there. We in there.
So the reason why I give you 5 is because I believe you're not ready for 6 yet, to be completely real.
Yeah.
But I believe you're getting there because, you know, as time goes on, I see Hessen, I'll get a notification. It'll be like, Hessen just checked into chest workout number 4. And I'm just like, he's getting after it.
You already know I'm here.
I'm like, bro, you're in my book. We're getting your results.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, there's mixed reviews on this, though. There's definitely people that say you need at least 2 days of rest through a week.
Like full on, not just per muscle, but full on.
Well,
totally
I believe you need 1 at least, for sure. If not 2, it depends. I mean, if you're killing your body and you cannot feel your body, you need to take a couple of days off. There's also things called a deload week. A deload week is where you do not touch weights, and I recommend people to do that once every 4 to 6 months, because it's the same thing with detoxing your body. It's the same thing with fasting your body. It's giving your body a complete reset to get back to it. So
that's my whole thing with plateauing, though, is you got to switch up your workouts.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do the same workout and expect different results. I mean, you will plateau.
Correct.
I worked out my whole life, and I did the same thing, and I kept hitting the same exact weight. And I was like, there's no way. I'm working out way more, way harder, and I'm just stuck here. Well, once I started diversifying my workouts, I really saw a difference.
Well, another thing that I teach people is tempo, right? Fast or slow. A lot of the times people hit a plateau is because they're using the exact same tempo, the speed,
true.
right? So I've put Clint through it.
Never rest.
I haven't put Jonathan through it, but basically it's where you really focus on the squeeze of the muscle rather than power. And, you know, you experienced it. Clint lost a lot of weight, but he was like, bro, my power's going down. My
strength got shot.
Yeah, and he was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, look, it's a process. And even in the car earlier, he was just like, bro, this is the healthiest and the strongest I've ever been.
Pound for pound, no, it's not the strongest.
And we've all seen that guy in the gym just swinging the weights up, and you're like, dude, what are you doing over there?
Yeah. I mean, you see it all the time. It's so funny because I'll see something in the gym that I haven't seen. I'm like, damn, like now I've seen it all. But like, there's always something new people will see.
Do you love the guys that are always using the machine incorrectly? And if you're giant, like if you're massive, it's like, okay, well, hey, what are you doing? Like, let me. What does that do? But for the guys that obviously don't look like they work out and they're using the machine some way it's clearly not meant to be made.
Correct.
I want to start an Instagram account and put those people.
There's a lot of them.
Puts the band behind her head and is like, it's like on the and she's like doing the neck.
It's for
it's
for neck day, and I got a neck day program for Jonathan tomorrow.
Oh God. I'll be sick.
Tell some of these soy boys about like active rest versus like a normal rest day. Like even like there are no days off.
Correct.
Right. You can always do cardio or something.
Yeah. Like what is active rest day? What are some good exercises for active rest?
Yeah. I mean, an active rest day could be going for a walk in the park with your dog, going to take a yoga class, going to just do something different that's not weights. A lot of the times people, they get literally addicted to the gym. They can't. And again, a lot of people are like, I'm going to go to the gym because, you know, it's my getaway, it's my escape, and that's the worst mentality to have. It's almost like you're putting a Band-Aid over what your real problem is. So going back to active rest, you could do yoga classes. Those are great for mobility. A lot of people, they forget about that part of working out. They don't have mobility. They don't have flexibility. I'm actually working with this guy, George. Shout out to George. He's actually healing my body in a crazy way. It's called manual therapy. He's been able to unlock my hips. Before I couldn't dance at all. Now I can. So shout out to him. He's been able to help me with that. And even playing baseball, like I wasn't able to like really use my lower half because my hips have always been super like tight. So walking your dog in your park, yoga classes,
Playing basketball,
going to play sports, swimming, any sort of sports, right?
That's another thing I was going to talk about is after your workout is as important to what you do, like hitting the sauna. That's very important. You know what I mean? To get your muscles in recovery. Like, do you believe in icing? Do you believe in sauna? What's your
to tag on that question, so really quick, because a lot of people probably want to get educated on this. You probably see a lot of people, they go into the gym, the first thing they do is they get on the Stairmaster and just completely wipe themselves out.
Right.
45 minutes. And then they get to the weight section and they have nothing left. So for those really quick, I just wanted to bring it up. If you are going to do cardio that day, unless it's like 5 minutes and you just want to warm up your body, which I think everyone should do, instead of getting on the cardio machine or the Stairmaster for 45 minutes before, make sure you hit your workout first, get that strength training done, and then hit the Stairmaster after. But if you could repeat your question one more time.
I was just talking about recovery, like, so I used to play football and I'd work out really hard, right? And then we'd go to practice and my body would just be devastated. So I'd have to soak in a huge tub of ice. I mean, literally just get in, just freeze until my whole body went numb, just to recover for the next day so I could do the same thing again.
Right. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, it's necessary.
That's going to be inflammation, right?
Yeah. So your
inflammation.
body builds lactic acid, and a lot of people forget about it. A lot of people, they hit the gym and they just go on with their day and they feel tight the next day, but in a bad way. Because there's good soreness and bad soreness. Bad soreness is I need to go to the doctor and get this checked out. Good soreness is, I killed it yesterday.
Right.
What do you say?
They don't know me, son?
Exactly. They don't know me, son.
I stole that from Goggins.
Okay, yeah.
It's not mine.
Yeah, okay, so Goggins, they don't know me, son. You had that type of workout and
Right.
you're really sore the
They
next
don't know
day.
me, son.
I think the sauna is really important too, right? Sweating all that out and sitting there. And
I've heard the
getting
sauna is better for inflammation than an ice bath.
Well, it depends what it is. I've heard both. I've heard alternating even is amazing.
I would love to read more on that for sure.
Yeah.
I believe the sauna, if you guys ever, there was like the eucalyptus oils you could put on the rocks.
Oh, yeah.
That
That'll
gets you.
do your sinus.
Oh, that gets you.
Yeah.
And you do that before your workout. Because again, a lot of working out is breathing. A lot of people don't engage their core. A lot of people don't breathe correctly. A lot of people they breathe incorrectly. I mean,
Right. That's a big thing is breathing. And not only that, it's what you're doing in your workouts, right? So a lot of people, they work out in a group of 3, though one person will be sitting there exercising, everybody's standing around watching.
Correct.
And it's like, man, you have to be moving from station to station. People don't think you can get cardio lifting weights. You can get tons of cardio lifting weights as long as you don't take breaks.
Right.
Like I see these guys sit at the gym, they'll do one workout and then they'll sit there for 5 minutes. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
You know what I
All
mean?
the time.
And I mean, I've been working out my whole life. Like I played football and basketball, and I've been really into sports my whole life, and I've just worked out a lot. So I see all this done incorrectly. And when I'm sitting at the gym, I'm like, man, y'all are wasting your time. You guys need to be rotating in between shifts and machines while you're sitting there. So you're not just sitting there. You don't need to have downtime, and you will burn tons of cardio.
Right.
And then when you're done, get into the sauna, get your muscles, back to normal, do some stretching in the sauna,
You know what another thing that you told me was that also helps with workouts, like as a rule recently for me, is visualizing. Like this morning I was doing lat pull downs, and I don't know if my form is bad, but the wrong muscle always feels sore after I do them. But this time I focused on like visualizing, closing my eyes and like visualize my back muscles pulling it down.
Correct.
And I was able to get the right muscle, because I feel like when I visualize the muscle group, it works the right ones, and my form ends up being much better simply by visualizing the muscle group that I'm intending on working out.
Yeah, it's mind muscle connection. So when you're lifting weight, you like you said, you visualize the blood flowing into your muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the biggest things that people forget when it comes to muscle growth, for sure.
Yeah, so that's helped me a lot with my form as of recently, for sure.
What's your outlook on ketones? That's a big topic now. A lot of people are talking about ketones. What do you think about it?
So I believe it's if you're in 30 grams of carbs or below, you're in ketosis. Again, a lot of people are not going to like me, but this is just, in my opinion, my opinion, but I believe it's starting to be more fact as there's more studies coming out. I believe, when it comes to keto, for example, a lot of people will do it because, again, instant gratification. Oh, I lost 40 pounds in 2 months on keto. I want to try this. And here's what happens. When you take carbs outside of your diet, just naturally, just taking, most people eat around 150 to 200 carbs easily a day, probably even more. And what happens is carbs are either stored as energy or as fat. And for the most part, carbs, for most people, they get stored a little bit more as fat than energy. But what happens when you take all those carbs away, your body's only stored as energy now, right? Because they need to find an energy source. But you can't do that for long. It's not sustainable. Like I said, I don't want to say in the end, it is a fad diet.
And then there's good carbs and bad carbs.
Correct. There's simple and complex carbs. Yeah. So what ends up happening is they'll lose the 40 pounds. They'll feel great. And then they'll sit there and think, all right, how do I sustain this? How do I even get more progress? Do I just continue to do this? And when they plateau, they start getting discouraged, and then they go back to their carbs. But they don't do it correctly. They'll splurge completely. They'll go from eating, 15 carbs a day for 2 months to then that 1 week where they go get pizza and bagels and donuts and just go ham on it. And then, in a couple weeks, they're almost back to where they started.
So what's your outlook on dairy? There's a lot of things going on now with dairy in the public eye, and everybody's saying, oh, dairy causes cancer, dairy's bad, stay away from cheese, processed cheese, all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. I don't eat it. Now, again,
I heard you say you eat yogurt, though.
Greek. Yeah. So it's a Greek vegan yogurt. It's not dairy at all.
Okay.
Cheese, and then the biggest thing was milk.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear as a kid, I think probably all
it
of
makes
us
your bones strong.
It makes your bones strong. Yeah,
fake news.
Yeah.
I feel like everything I was taught when I was a kid was lie.
We should make a fake news button.
Yeah, no, for real. And there are a lot. Think about it. It's like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I mean, you don't when was the last time you guys ate apples?
This morning, actually, for the first time in a very long time.
There you go.
But you're not supposed to eat the skin on them.
I don't eat the skin on
without washing it.
No, you're not supposed to eat the skin of an apple. I don't know, bro.
Why?
It's inflammatory. It's hard to digest.
Well, you say that about tomatoes too. There's tons of things.
You're not supposed to eat tomatoes either.
God, tomatoes. No. Tomatoes are fire.
No, I hate them, but you're also physical reasons. Anyway, let's talk about the real culprit here, the one that makes cocaine the second most addictive thing.
We do have to wrap up soon.
Yeah, I know. I gotta get out of here. But the thing that makes cocaine the second most addictive thing, processed sugars. That's the most addictive thing that we can do. And I once heard a podcast where I think it was like the president of the American Heart Association was talking about if you can eliminate processed sugar and stress from your lifestyle, you can live to be 105.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. There was actually a guy, he lived to 110, and he was on the news, and he actually said that. He said, they asked him, how are you living so long and you look really good for 110? They said, processed sugar, and I think he said exercise as well. Mm-hmm. He was just like, it's not a crazy amount, but I do it. What 100-year-olds do you know who are going to the gym? Like, I
don't even know any 100-year-olds.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So here's my input on it. Again, it's all inside versus out. Not only will processed sugars ruin your insides, it'll obviously ruin your outsides as well. Mm-hmm. What happens is, there's blood running through our body at all times, and a lot of the times we have gut issues, we have heart issues, we have lung issues. Like, we have all these different issues. I mean, obviously, if you think about smoking, for example, gives you lung issues. Processed sugars will destroy your liver, will destroy your gut, which, again, your gut, and obviously we've talked about kombucha a good bit, just in the past with these guys.
Probiotics.
Probiotics.
Are you on a probiotic? Do you take probiotics?
Yeah, so I actually take it's from Whole Foods. It's literally called Whole Foods probiotic. Yeah. And I take a scoop every single morning because you guys have probably heard, like, make decisions from your gut. Mm-hmm. Your gut's like your intuition, and
second brain.
Yeah,
gut feeling.
Correct. I believe all of that is connected. So I believe when you make a decision based on your intuition and your gut, depending on how your gut's feeling, it could affect it. Now, again, I'm not saying it does. My thing is more so like, I'm not going to take that chance. I'm just going to say, I'm just going to take care of this. I'm going to take one scoop of it, and it's a green supplement. So I do get my micronutrients as well with it, which is good. So, and you could see it. So, for example, processed sugars, you see people eating. Again, dark chocolate's not bad, but like, you see people eating candy. You see people eating.
Halloween.
Yeah, and think about it. Like, a lot of people will go the cheaper route and they'll go get frozen food.
God, think about the bags and bags of
Halloween healthy candy. Choice.
It's
frozen food.
Correct.
Of all holidays, it's the highest revenue driver. Right, Halloween is in America.
So, going back to like foods in the bag. Like, think about a lot of people are like, well, I'm just gonna have like a chicken salad tonight, and they go get chicken
in a bag.
Yeah, chicken in a bag, and they'll put it in the oven, and because it's $2 cheaper. You know,
Right.
and there's that saying.
And it saves you time making it.
Correct,
prepping it.
exactly. And there's that saying, if you think eating healthy is expensive, wait till they send you the bill for not eating healthy. Drop the bomb for
Yeah,
that
get
one.
the
Yeah,
hospital bill.
something for that one. We in there.
Yes. Boom, bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Mike, we could do this.
But I mean, I really feel like stress is the biggest trigger. I mean, let's be honest. Stress is what kills most Americans.
I think it's stress and sugar, and it's like because sugar makes the stress worse,
Right.
and the stress gets worse. Sugar helps you out, but
and inflammation.
we got to wrap this up.
I want
Chiara,
to talk about,
Yeah.
or I want give a shout out to Whole Foods Talk.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're doing with the podcast. Let's land this plane. Let's close it out.
Dude, 100%. Really quick, Whole Foods Talk is an episode series I started a couple weeks ago. For me, one of my lifelong goals, it's not about the money. It's not about like even fame if it comes with it. It's about Whole Foods is just one of those spots that I go to a couple times a week to get their buffet, and I've referred probably over 200 people to it. They all know.
I got the Whole Foods band.
Exactly. I know Heston goes because he always, literally every single time I see him, he always has the Whole Foods band. But yeah, so what's that?
Nothing relevant. Keep going.
All right.
Sorry.
So I go to Whole Foods probably 2 times a week, get their buffet. You can probably get their buffet. If you do it right, there's a couple of different ways. Obviously, watch my episodes. Spend $7-8 on lunch. And again, if you have to, you're on the run, you have to go quick, you're able to go there. One of the biggest things is if you look at different grocery stores like Publix, Walmart, Kroger, Trader Joe's, and then Whole Foods. Whole Foods is one of those places you walk into, and it's more of an experience rather than like a grocery store. You walk in there and you're able to go to a buffet and get food. All the things are just, everything is so professional. And I think very, very big just about life, right? And with what Whole Foods is doing, Amazon just bought them a couple years ago. So I relate Whole Foods to kind of what my goals are in life, right? So how you do anything is how you do everything. Whole Foods is doing it very, very big. I'm wanting to do it and will do it very, very big. And
you are doing it big, my
exactly,
bro. Let's give them a winning streak. Hey, look,
I'm on a winning streak.
That's it.
Hey, so Whole Foods Talk, it's on IGTV.
Correct. Yep. IGTV.
And what account do people search to find that?
So it's my name, Michael _Chiara. I release one once a week, and they're getting more fire, and the goal and the purpose behind it isn't to go and talk about, why apples with skin aren't great. I just go in there and share something that I'm passionate about. Whether it's I go in there and talk about, what are your goals in life? What kind of foods, maybe what kind of foods you should be. It's different every single week. I mean, there are times where I bring somebody on with me. Like, for example, when we did the hike, I brought Kurt on and we broke down the hike and how crazy that was,
This was a full day. From the bottom of Stone Mountain up Stone Mountain, back down, all the way to Kennesaw Mountain.
Correct.
And back down.
Yep.
Which, for anyone listening, that's one side of Atlanta to far north of Atlanta. You
It's
said
40
40 miles.
40 total miles.
Up down up and down one mountain, and then up another.
Most
and
people
back
won't
down.
walk
And then
40
back down.
miles in a week.
Oh no, it was the craziest. I mean, when you're limping 12 miles and you're not giving up, you discover some things about yourself that
They
you
don't know me,
They
son.
don't know me, son.
Hey, word on the street is you got a professional podcast coming out too. Where can
Yeah.
people buy this little piece of work?
Amazon.com. And when you read it and you love it and you gain some amazing value from it, please leave a review.
And should someone be as fortunate as Clint and I are to want to have you as their personal trainer, does that just happen through an IG DM? Do you have an email?
IG is the best way to find me. Obviously, through the book, I have my social media platforms as well. IG is for sure the best way to do it. And again, if you're looking to elevate your life, and again, when it comes to discipline, and you know how it is. Discipline is one of the biggest things for me. One of my other lifelong goals is to become the most disciplined human that ever walked the face of the earth.
Watch out, you got some competition.
Yeah.
And here's the book right here, guys. If y'all are wondering what it looks like, this is it right here. So go pick it up.
Absolutely.
Support this man.
Absolutely. I just know what discipline has done for me, and I know what discipline has done for clients. And I've seen people like you guys, your guys' businesses has grown because you've maximized your energy, you maximize your vitality, and you actually take the 45 minutes to an hour 5 to 6 times a week and you get it done.
Absolutely.
And you eat cleaner and you feel better and you're more comfortable in your own skin.
Man, I feel like I need to join.
It's a
Chiara,
win-win.
this was awesome, bro. Thank you so much.
Always, bro.
You know who we are. We are right here. We are Hustle Up, talking about mindset, business, relationships, fitness, all the good stuff. I'm
You said
Jonathan.
it out of order. I'm Clint.
I'm Matt.
Hey, make sure you like and subscribe. We got tons of different content. Season 2 of Hustle Up really just started. Thank you to Matt here for putting us in this amazing professional studio. We got good video, we got good audio, we got good content.
Got
Clint,
good guess.
Clint,
Hustle the fuck up.
hustle the fuck. They don't know me, son.
You don't know me, son.
Boom, bow.
Wow.
We out.